As we're headed into election time with Democratic and Republican conventions coming up, I want to talk to you about what's happened in our country. There was a time when our forefathers and mothers established this country that we had huge ideals that this was not going to be like all the other countries that people had migrated from. We would not have a government that had power over the people, that did whatever it wanted because it considered itself to be the elite, the ones who had the inside information, the ones who had the power, the money, the intelligence, the education to rule over the common people. That's what had been in all the other systems that we had migrated from into this country. And this amazing experiment, if you have it, was done where the ones who set up the Constitution in this country had a vision of us actually being a democracy, meaning that you could trust the people to choose their own leaders and then hold the leaders accountable. And that if the leaders weren't accountable, in 4 years they could get rid of them and get in leaders they wanted that were accountable. It was a new thought that had not been done before in the world, and all the world stood by and watched to see what would happen. How could regular farmers and craftsmen and all the normal people, how could they have enough wisdom to know who should be in charge? And yet that's how it was set up, trusting the wisdom of the people more than the wisdom of those that hold power over people, and more than those who stand to gain from such power. So that's how we were established. And the politicians had to, boy, they really had to cross their T's and dot their I's, or the people would throw them out at the next election. They wouldn't get back in. They had to hold an integrity and answer to the people, and the people would demand of them explanations and integrity and honesty, or they'd get rid of them. The politicians had to be afraid of the people because the people could end their political careers. Now our forefathers would weep looking upon the situation. The people are now afraid of the government. The government has withdrawn most of our rights, most of our truths or ways that we can do things. The power is taken from the people. It's now such an embroiled situation that you can't really tell who has the power. There's the front men or women whose faces and names are up there, but most people know they're not really the ones calling the shots, not really who's the power brokers behind everything that's happening. So people give up. And they go, I don't even know what's going on, and the problems are too big, and I've got my own problems. So, whatever. And so once again, I can vote for the lesser of evils. It needs not be that way. In fact, we Americans need to awaken from our sleep of what this country was supposed to be and how valuable the liberties and rights were, that people happily gave their lives for to defend those. And we've given them away. In the last 8 years, we've given away more rights than one can imagine. We've accepted wiretapping and phone listening in on our phones. We've accepted torture because we assume these things will always be done to the bad guys, the insurgents, somebody else. It would never happen to me, a regular American. But in fact, it does happen to Americans. And we stand by and let it happen. We're taken into wars that the international community has stated were not just, were not right, where the head of the United Nations said it was illegal how we entered into the Iraq War. By international law, it was illegal. And yet, we did nothing about those who lied to us to get in. We've done nothing. Everybody's still in office. Who's responsible for everything that's happened? Now elections come up, and I want to ask you, are you willing to do your homework and learn what is true, and then stand up and hold those who run for office accountable to tell the truth? And if they don't tell the truth, that they should be removed from office. That we say there's a standard of integrity. Now, the only way to hold a real standard of integrity for others is if you choose to live it. So you need to institute integrity in your life, that you can then, with a good conscience, say, I hold my politicians, my representatives, to speaking the truth. And they need to speak the truth. I don't want to hear slogans that get them elected. I want to hear what they say is true. It's what they believe and will stand by. And if they don't, we will get them out of office. Can we, the American people, find that within us again? That righteousness, a good way of righteousness, that rebellion against being lorded over and dominated by powers that shouldn't be dominating us. Can we find in us our own integrity and dedication to liberties and truth that will hold our representatives accountable? Unless we do it, the vision of this country is over. It looks pretty over to me already. We are in the 11th hour to try to save what was beautiful and important about the dream, the vision of what this country was. It's almost gone. So I call on you, my fellow Americans, to wake up. Wake up. Have integrity in yourself. Care enough and hold those that we vote for accountable to what they say, and take action to remove them from office when they don't do what they say, when they've lied to us, when they've misled us, and when they don't follow through on their agreements and promises. We need our elected officials to agree to establish justice and peace in our country and in the world on all levels, that there's economic justice and social justice, that there's justice between peoples, racial, ethnic, all kinds of justice, and that they're dedicated to it, and then they really do it. Or we can kiss the vision of this country goodbye. Join me in growing numbers of people who want to stand up and say, let's be real Americans, and let's hold our government accountable to be real American democracy.